Yo, what is going on, guys? Flashverse here, and welcome back to my last ever video on Arrow Season 8. And this will be my review for Arrow's season finale, aka Arrow Season 8, Episode 10, otherwise entitled Fade Out. Now, let me get something cleared before I start this video. Just because Arrow has ended, it doesn't mean that I'm going to stop making Arrow videos. Now, I know it's going to be kind of impossible for me to keep making Arrow content every week and stuff, but I'll try to make some cool top 10 for you guys to enjoy for my Arrow fans. Now, before I actually start the video, I will give you guys a quick journey of my quick journey on how I've been introduced to Arrow. So, basically, I've been watching this show for 4 years now, midway through season 4, which isn't really the best way to start because season 4 was the worst season. But I have watched season 1, 2, 3, before I've obviously watched season 4, or else it wouldn't have made sense. But I've caught up to Arrow, and it was mid season 4 when I've watched it onwards. When the new episodes came out, I watched every single week. Once season 5 has aired, Arrow has become my favorite TV show that has ever aired on TV, where it reached a point in which Oliver Queen, aka the Green Arrow, has become my favorite comic book character of all of comic book history, kicking the Flash out of the number 1 spot. Now, by the way, I was introduced to Arrow from the Flash TV show, just a quick mention. Now, Arrow was the number 1 DC show that was created after Smallville. Well, it wasn't the number 1 DC show, but without it, basically, the Arrowverse wouldn't have happened, so it's the father of the Arrowverse. Now, Arrow has obviously inspired me to make this YouTube channel as well, which has helped me get over 400 subscribers, which is awesome. And even in Arrow's weaker seasons, which is season 4, I've still enjoyed watching this show so much. Not so much of season 4, but I have lost count on how many times I've rewatched multiple seasons. And yeah, it will just be really, really sad seeing this show go after watching this for 4 long and amazing years. But anyways, before I do my review, you guys don't forget to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel so you are aware of more Arrowverse content coming your way. Okay, now on to my review. So this episode kicked off with a very nice intro monologue, and it was just a really good fit to what Arrow has done. He's talking about him saving the multiverse and stuff, how he was stranded on the island for 5 years, as we know. And also how for 8 years he's been working with other heroes. It was just really nice. But we get a flashback to 2014 as it shows what post-crisis has done to Arrow. So we go back to the scene where Slade captured all of the queens, that being Thea, Moira, and Oliver, and made Oliver choose between his sister and his mother. But instead of Moira dying, Oliver grabs a pocket knife and breaks the zip tie and then stops Slade. Now, some people thought that this was a new scene that they've shot while filming this episode, but actually, it wasn't. This was a deleted scene for season 2. So, Manu Bennett wasn't actually on set this year or anything like that. This was just a season 2 deleted scene, basically. But we have this documentary type thing again where Moira is talking about Oliver and how Oliver has died a hero. We then have Dinah crying, and she's just I can't believe that this is happening. So she's not really accepting that Oliver is dead. And we get Renee talking about Oliver as well, and how he was the best amongst all the heroes. But we then have this entire Team Arrow together, and they're drinking for Oliver. And we actually had Diggle say Prochnos before they drank as well, which I thought was cool. I'm sorry, it was after they drank, I think. Whatever. But essentially, Diggle was the main leader of this episode, and I think that was a good choice. Diggle's also talking about how Oliver's journey is far from over, although Dinah's just it's really safe, there's no point of doing stuff over here. But we then get a flashback somewhere post season 1, episode 5, where we see Oliver in his season 1 suit, which explains how Stephen Amell shot his final scenes with the OG suit. So this is Oliver Queen in his season 1 suit. And it was back when it was only him and Diggle. Oliver is tracking this guy who goes by the name John Burns. And Diggle is talking about how there are better ways instead of just cold-blooded murder. As we know in Arrow season 1, Oliver was a serial killer, and we just had Diggle and Oliver arguing. But we then cut to Mia in 2040, and she wakes up. We find out that Sarah is like in her room, and she's come to pick Mia up to see Oliver's funeral. But we then had Diggle doing the salmon ladder, which I thought was cool, and he was wearing green, which was some nice foreshadowing to what was about to happen later on in this episode. Now, something interesting we had in this scene is that the Team Arrow did the Mark of 4 tattoo from Arrow season 7 flash forwards, which I thought was cool as well. But we then had Diggle and Renee talking to each other, and Renee is talking about how he's about to get elected as mayor. But we go to the flashbacks with Diggle saying, "Let me come with you," and Oliver saying, "No, you're not coming." And Oliver obviously says that because he knows that Diggle will try to prevent him from killing this person. But Oliver then goes to find this John Burns person. We then cut to Mia in the Arrow bunker in 2020, and she mentions that she's not allowed to break the timeline to Dinah, and this is why she's in the Arrow bunker, so she doesn't accidentally spill stuff out. So she's staying in the Arrow bunker, but she mentions to Dinah that she's come here because of that, to see her father's funeral. But then they get an alert, which William Clayton, Mia's brother, has been abducted. This then led to all of Team Arrow reuniting, and we had Ragman and Thea return as well, which was really cool to see them both. We had Roy apologize to Thea for just leaving her, but then we had the return of Felicity Smoke, and she tracks down several locations in which Team Arrow split up and searched. We then had Diggle obviously doing the suit up line as well, and he talks about how they should do this. They should find William so they could keep Oliver's family safe, just like what Oliver has done to everyone else's family. But we had Roy and Thea going to some place in which was empty, but instead of leaving, Roy proposes to Thea, which was something that I was waiting for so long, and they've finally done it. We then had Ragman and Wild Dog go to some other place. Now they beat up Ragman handles the whatever you want to call them, the criminals, but William wasn't there either. And Ragman also mentions how Renee reminds how Renee reminds him of Oliver, as he was the closest one alike to Oliver. We then cut to Lila and Diggle, and their place was empty as well. And Lila got triggered about the fact that she couldn't find William, and that she's scared that after what Oliver has done to Diggle's family, Lila cannot return the favor and keep Oliver's son safe. But obviously, not really a surprise, Mia ends up finding John Burns, and we find out that John Burns was the one with William, and we get this awesome flashback scene, and this is Oliver brutally beating the living crap out of John Burns' men and cold-bloodedly killing anyone he sees in his way. It was just so awesome to watch, and it was such an awesome callback to season 1, where Oliver just doesn't care, he just kills whoever he sees. And if I'm being honest, this fight scene was by far one of the best fight scenes in Arrow I've ever seen. But we had Oliver using his grapple hook, and he finds John Burns, in which we get a final "You have failed this city," which gave me goosebumps. But we had a sick transition between Mia and Oliver, Like it zooms into Oliver's eyes and it zooms out and then we get Mia. It was a cool transition. But then we have Mia refusing to kill John Burns as she says, Oliver Queen didn't kill you, so I'm not. But you're still going to prison, which I thought was really nice. We then cut to the Arrow bunker again, and Felicity notices that this is future Mia that she's seeing. And in the news, we get this reporter saying that Oliver's death has inspired a new generation of heroes, hinting to the Green Arrow and the Canaries TV show, which hopefully gets picked up. But we go back to the flashback scene as Oliver returns in his base of operations and tells Diggle that he didn't kill for the first time. Like he spared John Burns. Oliver then accepts that there are better ways in just killing people, but he does say that some people on that list have to die, but some don't. Then Oliver also says, maybe I'll take you with me sometime. We then are back to present day in the Queen Mansion, and Thea accepts Roy's proposal. And then we cut to SCPD when Laurel is talking to Quentin about why Oliver didn't bring back Laurel, which was a nice scene, like Earth 1 Laurel. But then we had Renee, Dinah, and Diggle in the Arrow bunker, and we find out that Diggle was moving to Metropolis, which is interesting. So could it be that we could see Diggle somehow in the Superman TV show coming next year? I don't know, but hopefully we do. And we then get Oliver Queen's memorial, and we see the Green Arrow statue, which is really cool. And we also find out what Oliver has, another post-crisis thing Oliver has done, which is saving Tommy Murden, as we do see him in the memorial as well as the funeral as well. But we then cut to Oliver's funeral, where we see Emiko return, which means that Emiko survived as well. We have Tommy mention that Earth 1 Laurel was his wife, which was also interesting. We had Nyssa and Talia return. We then had Mia and Felicity talking to each other, and I thought was very nice. She mentions that she's met Oliver and that how Oliver has trained Mia into becoming a hero. But then we have Barry and Kara attend the funeral, which I thought was really cool. We have Anatoly mention that there was no body in the coffin, which could still mean that Oliver is the Spectre, and we may possibly see him return sometime in the future. I highly doubt next year. Maybe like next year they'll give him like a break and something, but maybe like the crossover after, if there is one. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see Oliver Queen then. But I hope that we do see Oliver as Red Death if they do like a speedster villain for the Flash season 7 or post season 6. I highly doubt post season 6, but it should be season 7, hopefully. But we had Diggle do the last words, which I thought was really cool. But holy crap, we cut to Diggle, like it's like a time jump if you want to call it, looking up in the sky, and something yellow crashes onto the ground. Diggle walks towards it, and he opens what he saw, and it was the freaking Green Lantern ring, which basically confirms that Diggle is now the Green Lantern. And I got goosebumps in this scene. I cannot believe that they have actually done this, and I do really hope that we do see Diggle as Green Lantern. Hopefully in the HBO Max series, hopefully David Ramsey is the main protagonist of that show. And hopefully we do see him as Green Lantern, like suited up and all. But finally, we go back to the ending with season 7, where the Monitor takes future Felicity somewhere, and it is revealed that she went to see Oliver. And we get a nice Felicity moment as they spend time together. And then Felicity thinks that their first encounter was in the IT department. And Oliver says, like, are you sure? In which we get a flashback to the season 3 flashbacks, when Oliver first sees Felicity, and we find out that it was the exact same place where they met, which is why Oliver is like in that office, because it's the first place that was the first sighting of Felicity. And then they have a happy ending. Now, overall, I loved this episode. It was such an amazing way to end the Arrow series, and it's just really sad seeing this show go. But I will give this episode a 10 out of 10, with my highlight character definitely being John Diggle. He carried this episode. He was an amazing team leader, and that ending for John Diggle becoming Green Lantern, wow, just wow. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching the video. If you guys have enjoyed it, please drop a like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video.